Piedmont, North Carolina, we generally don't go more than a couple weeks without rain. So every little bit of rain adds up to large amounts of standing water in gutters, tires, tarps, buckets, flower pots, anything you can imagine can breed mosquitoes. The mosquitoes that we're primarily talking about require tiny, tiny amounts of water. My name's Ryan, and I work with mosquitoes, and I'd like to just tell everybody what we can do to be more responsible community members in trying to reduce the numbers of mosquitoes that are around our neighborhoods and parks and things like that. One of the reasons why this year seems to be really bad with mosquito populations all around the country is because in drought times they run out of places to breed, and the areas that they do breed in shrink and shrink and shrink, and it gets really concentrated, which is highly organic, and that has a tendency to attract more mosquitoes. Going back to what's in it, the more nasty the water, the better. We've got about 35 species of mosquito in this area of North Carolina. So we have some that breed after large floods on the floodplains and the rivers, and those are usually a problem in the spring and the fall. The ones in our backyards, that's what we call container breeding species, and we got about 5 or 6 of those that will readily breed in really small amounts of water. And by far the most abundant one is one called the Asian tiger mosquito, and it's Aedes albopictus, and one female can live about 3 weeks. She can lay about 300 eggs in those 3 or 4 weeks, because in a month's time, if she lays 300 eggs, half of those eggs are, let's just imagine that they all survive, half of those eggs are male and half of those eggs are female, then they all lay 300 eggs. Then it becomes an exponential process to where the populations just get really huge. I think in about 5 generations you get about 1 billion mosquitoes. These are mosquito larvae. And I don't know if you can look really closely, but there's all different sizes in here wiggling around. And this guy right over here is actually a pupa. See how they dive down? The pupa is about 24 to 48 hours before becoming a mosquito. See, they'll go down to the bottom when they sense danger. They'll go down to the bottom and actually hold on to stuff and keep from coming back up. I don't think you can probably see it, but this guy right here is tiny. That's probably a day old or 2 old. And they will go from there to the pupa and then to an adult in about 5 to 7 days when it's real warm outside. One of the more common breeding sites that we find in the community is black corrugated pipes. And these things seem to hold water no matter what. You know, you can get these little mosquito dunks, and you can buy these anywhere. Lowe's, Home Depot, farmers markets, feed and seed stores, anywhere where they have some generalized hardware. What this trap does is this trap attracts mosquitoes that are looking for a place to lay eggs. And if they're already looking for a place to lay eggs, then that means that they've already had a blood meal, and they are more likely to be infected mosquitoes. You know, mosquitoes don't eat our blood. They use our blood to harden their eggs. So without the blood of a mammal or a bird or a reptile, their eggs wouldn't last long in the environment. So what we look for in mosquitoes that we test when we're looking for viruses and things is if a mosquito is looking for a blood meal, chances are it's not going to have a virus unless it's a really old mosquito and it's fed on a lot of critters. So what we want to do in order to help us speed up the process of finding out the areas where the viruses are is we want to focus on mosquitoes that have already had a blood meal. first things that you can do to prevent mosquito bites is just, if there's too many of them out, go inside. Change your plans. Second thing you can do is put long sleeves, long pants on. That's a great way to prevent a lot of them. You know, sometimes that's not enough. We do have species here that will bite you right through your jeans. You know, another thing is we have some great repellents. This one, the one I use, is 25% DEET. Anytime you use anything like that, you just need to read the directions, follow the directions well. A lot of times people have really high expectations of repellents, and they'll go swimming, and then they'll get out of the pool and get bit by a bunch of mosquitoes and don't think the repellent's working. Well, you know, you just washed it off. If it's raining, you're going to wash it off. If you're doing things with a garden hose, you're going to wash it off. So, you know, you got to be mindful of all these little things that we do. And if you need to, just reapply it. The easiest way is just to tip and toss. You just tip out everything that's got water in it and throw it in the garbage if you don't need it. It's just important to be smarter than your enemy.